Rey in this movie, it seems like he's in the position Yoda was with Luke in The Empire Strikes Back. Is it sort of like when your parents say you'll understand when you're older? Does he finally learn some of Yoda's lessons now that he's the teacher?
Well, you're assuming that I train Rey.
Exactly.
Sneaky.
Do I?
Sneaky.
I know I have to be really careful. People say, was it difficult to pick up and wield a lightsaber again? And I go, do I?
Is it difficult acting in this movie? Am I in this movie?
I can promise you my part is twice as big as it was in 40.
What's 2 times 0?
A question there in the back. Richard in the R2-D2 jacket.
Bold choice.
I like it.
Whoa, that's a cool track.
Thank you, Anthony. This question here is for Mr. Johnson. I'm Rich Woloski from Skywalking Through Neverland. I love you all, but this question is for Mr. Johnson. You had said that a lot of the visual cues for The Last Jedi were going to be taken from The Empire Strikes Back. What aesthetic really spoke to you about Empire, and what shot did you really want to replicate from The Empire Strikes Back?
Hit the ugly light. It's 4 a.m. Just stay here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Thank you. Here all week.
Last call. Last call.
Something I said?
So dramatic.
So, once again, what about the visual cues from The Empire Strikes Back really spoke to you?
Well, I mean, my cinematographer, Steve Yedlin, who I've been best friends with since I was 18 years old, we met in film school. And so to be standing next to each other on a Star Wars set was pretty surreal. But I think Empire is, I think it's just the most beautiful. All the films are beautiful. I think for my just taste, I think the cinematography in Empire is the most gorgeous of the whole series. And so Steve and I looked at the lighting in that it's also kind of it's pretty daring in terms of how dark they were willing to go with some of the, literally dark, and how gorgeous they went with some of the choices they made with the shaping of the lighting. But then in terms of like an actual visual aesthetic, I made a choice very early on that I thought, well, I can either try and kind of copy my idea of what the original movies did, which was much more of kind of a formal, the camera didn't move a ton, and it was much more of kind of a much more formal type visual aesthetic. Or I realized, we're going to take visual cues lighting-wise and design-wise from, the previous movies, but I need to just shoot this movie the way that I would shoot a movie. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not engaged with it and I'm not trying to tell the story the way that really makes me excited, then it's not going to be up there on the screen. So